I've been invited to compete in the Mustang Magic. This is the day that I'm going to place the first bid. A lot of it's just a gut feeling. It's so hard to decide. It's so stressful because this is your horse. You're picking for competition. You've got a minute left. Choosing a horse, you want to be sure that you chose the right one. 5 seconds left. Hey y'all, I have some really exciting news to share. I've been invited to compete in the Mustang Magic, which is a Mustang training competition that will take place in Fort Worth, Texas at the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo next year. Eligible trainers who've been invited to compete are able to pick up a Mustang August or September of this year and compete with the Mustang in January. So I'm super excited. I've been eligible for a few years now, but this is the first time I'm actually able to compete because I'll be able to be in Texas. And I've been looking on the internet adoption for my Mustang, so I'm really excited to pick a horse and start to bid on that horse. And today I've decided is the day that I'm going to place the first bid. So I've been looking at a lot of horses, and I'm going to show y'all here in a minute. And I've been narrowing down my picks, and today I'm going to look at a few more that I haven't got the chance to really go over their videos, and then I'm going to narrow down my favorite and place the first bid. So if you're not familiar with the internet adoption, the Bureau of Land Management Wild Horse and Burro program offers Mustangs available online for bidders to decide on their favorite and bid on that horse. And then you're able to have the Mustang shipped to a pickup location that is the closest one to you and go pick up that Mustang later. So there's a pickup location in North Carolina in August, so if I bid on a horse now, I'll be able to get that horse within the window for them to be eligible for the Mustang Magic. Alright, so I'm going to show y'all what I've been doing. I'm looking for a horse that's between the ages of 4 and 10, and I want them to be at least 14 hands preferably. And I'm looking for a horse whose price hasn't already exceeded, we'll say $500, because if they're already priced at that point, today's Thursday, this is I think the third day of the auction, then they're only going to get higher by the end of the auction. So I'm looking for a horse that maybe, not a lot of people notice from just their photo, or see like a flashy color and want to bid on that horse. So I like to pick the horses that might go unnoticed, but if you look at their video and if you look closer at them, they're actually a very nice horse. A lot of the time, nice horses don't get a whole lot of bids, so I'm hoping to find a bit of a diamond in the rough. So I clicked on this eagle because I thought he had a pretty face, a striking face marking, very flashy trot. He looks like a nice horse. Unfortunately, eagle is not one of the herds I'm going to be looking at for a competition based on personal experiences. So what I've done, I have kind of a weird process of sorts. I've gone and I've looked at basically all of this top section of horses, and I've then gone up from the bottom and looked at the bottom section of horses, and now I am somewhere in the middle, and there are actually some horses around here I haven't looked at. Now if I can find about where I stopped last time, that would be great, and I can pick up in the middle and continue looking. So I'm not sure exactly where I stopped because my process doesn't really make any sense, and I have a lot of people asking me, and that's why I'm doing this video, because a lot of people ask me, like, what's your process when you look for Mustangs? What do you like to see in a Mustang? And it's going to be different when you go to the corrals and you can actually pick one out, and it's going to be different to when you're picking one on the internet adoption. Obviously, picking a horse off a video is pretty hard. It's hard to not be able to see them in person. It's especially hard when they don't have pictures up of the horses. So now I'm just opening a few tabs with different horses, and I'm going to take a look. This is a Palomino Buttes mare. She looks like she has a really sweet face, and I've heard good things about the Oregon horses, so let's take a look at her video. So I don't really have a good process. I will say color is the last thing I look at, It's a bonus if a horse has a nice color, some flashy markings, but that's the least important thing to me. I want to look at their face first. I always look at their face, their eyes. I feel like you can tell a lot from their eyes. Some people believe a lot in looking at the whorls. This mare didn't really strike me. And honestly, most of the time, you know, it's nothing in particular. It doesn't mean there's anything bad about the horse. They're a perfectly nice horse, but if they don't strike me, then I won't pick them. I know I look for something that I can see myself competing. Like if I look at their video, I can see myself, you know, for the Magic, it's primarily a Western competition. You can also compete English. People do compete English and do well. I'm going to be looking for a horse. I want to compete with Western because I've been doing the Mustang Classic. I've been doing the English competition, and I want some more practice with the Western competition. This is a very nice looking gelding, so I'm going to add him to my favorites. I think he has a nice face, a nice build. Bonus that he's colorful. He's from a herd that I like, Spruce Pequot, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. The first horse I ever started under saddle was from there, with help, of course. If any of you remember Julius from Camille's channel, Julius has a very good mind. He's very nice to start. So I've added this horse to my favorites. When I'm looking on the internet adoption, I generally assume that a colorful horse is going to go out of my budget. So I don't always count on being able to buy or win a colorful horse because sometimes they go out of budget, sometimes they don't. This horse is already in my favorites. I quite like him. He has a pretty face. So I'm going to come back to him later. And so he's also in my favorites. So I just wanted to look over a few different horses and start to make my decision. So for me, a lot of it is I want a horse with nice conformation that suits the discipline I want them for. And a lot of it is I like to look at their demeanor. That's why it's very helpful to have videos of them. It's very helpful if you can go to the corrals and see them. But of course we don't have that opportunity on the internet adoption. But if I can tell anything from the way that they're acting in their videos or their expressions, then that'll give me some valuable information. Movement is also important. It's nice when you can watch the horse move. This guy doesn't seem to want to move around too much, although he has a nice trot. He looks like a cute little horse. But there's others that strike me more. I'm going to keep looking. The problem is there's a lot of nice looking horses with good conformation, and from the little we could tell from the videos seem to have good minds, and that can make it quite hard to narrow down a favorite. I'm really big on gut feelings and whatever horse really just strikes me. So this video doesn't want to load. But if I can't see myself competing on them, I can't see myself in a Western saddle in the Will Rogers Coliseum competing on that horse, then, you know, it just doesn't feel like it's meant to be my horse. It's a nice looking horse. Let's see this video. So this one's born in facility, so gives me a little bit less to work with. Seems to be thinking things through. Not quite the Western-y type I'm looking for. This looks more like an English horse. Very nice horse though. Alrighty, so I had to go somewhere. Now I'm back and I'm ready to place a bid. I forgot to mention at the end of the Mustang Magic, the horses that compete at the show are going to be available by competitive bid. And so it's a super exciting show and a chance for the public to get some really nice trained Mustangs. So I'm really excited to go compete next year. And so here I am looking at my favorites list. There's just so many nice horses. There were pages upon pages of nice horses. Took me hours to go through them all, look at the videos, and assess all of the horses, So really exciting. There's 4 more days left in the auction, so more time to agonize over horses. So this mare caught my eye on the first day of me looking at the horses. She's from Calico Mountains, which I don't have personal experience with, but I've heard some good things about that herd. And I just like her type. I think she has a sweet face. Of course, you can only tell so much just from looking at them. But I like her eye. I like her build. So I'll show a little bit of her video. And she seems to have a nice, quiet demeanor. And so, of course, there's already some bids on her, so it looks like a few people are interested in her. But I really like her, and I'm tempted to see if somebody wants to bid against me or if they have a proxy bid. So at the moment I'm leaning towards putting a bid in on her. I think she's pretty neat. And so then we've got this little guy. Of course I call him a little guy. He's listed as 14 2 hands from Spruce Pequot, if that's the correct way to pronounce that. And I like that herd. The first horse I ever started under saddle was from that herd, and so that's already appealing to me. And I just like his type a lot too. I like him as a western horse, and I think he has cute movement and seems to have a nice demeanor about him. So he also is interesting. He looks like he's shedding out kind of a sun-bleached coat, and of course these videos were filmed in March, so they would have been midway through shedding out their winter coats. And he looks interestingly liver chestnut or possibly dark bay underneath. So of course color is always the last thing I look at, but I just thought it was pretty interesting, his color. And he just has a cute face. I liked his eyes a lot. You can see where he's shedding out. So then that's one that I really like too. And then we've got this dun guy. He looks a little bit more up, a little bit more excited. Of course it's hard for them being separated. They have to go. Of course they're only away from the other horses for a couple minutes for the videos, and they get to go back in the pens with the others. But it's hard for them to go in like these viewing pens. So he looks a little more excited. He's from the same herd. He's a little taller. And interestingly, despite his striking color, he only has 1 bid. So he's another potential option. It's always so hard to decide, and for me, a lot of it's just a gut feeling, a horse that really strikes me that I can see myself competing on. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to see, I kind of want to see if somebody has a proxy on this mare. She doesn't have a lot of views, although the views don't always tell you everything. It's so hard to decide. It's so stressful because this is your horse you're picking for competition, especially if it's a big one like the Mustang Magic. It's very intense, and you want to be set up for success with the right horse, and you really don't know. Mustangs are like a game of roulette. You don't know what you're going to get until you're actually in the pen with that horse. And so picking is sometimes almost more stressful than just having a randomly assigned horse. But I think that I would be excited to get either one of these horses. I think they're both really nice horses, and honestly any horse on my favorites list I would be super excited to end up with. So I think I'm going to look at this mare's bid history, and 30 bids. Yeah, it looks like someone had a proxy bid going, and 1 or more other people were bidding against that proxy. So there could be a few people interested in this mare. So I think there's a high enough chance. We've got 4 days until the end of the auction. I think there's a decent chance I get outbid, considering she's already at 300. So I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to see what happens, and I think if it's meant to be, let's do the minimum bid. It's 318. It's meant to be, and if not, I'll get outbid. And I like this little guy as my backup option. So here we go. I confirm my bid. Okay, so as you can tell, it's currently thunderstorming, and I have planned to film myself in bed on this building, so here we are, thunderstorming. Sorry about the audio, doing my best. So I did get outfit on the bear. Someone just bid another $5, and I kind of said, you know what, I looked at the videos again, I really like the gelding. I'm willing to pay for the mare if I liked her better, but I quite like this gelding, so I decided he's going to be the next one that I bid on. Just to get another bid, so I'm minimum bid on. And yeah, I really like him a lot. So he's been honestly one of my top mares in stabling. So this is the time in the auction where people start pitching horses that don't have needs, and if they're bad, I hold them, and if I can just get a bid and paid, then I can hopefully claim him for my own. So we'll see. And yeah, sorry about the rain. Alrighty, so we are 4 minutes from the conclusion of the auction, and I'm taking a final look at the horses. I've had the bid on the gelding for a little bit now. Still winning him, so we'll see. You know, I'm gonna set a proxy just to make sure. So I'm just taking a look at some of these horses. They're going for some pretty good prices. I just thought it would be interesting to see what all the flashy, colorful horses are going for. A lot of young ones this time around are getting lots of high bids, so that's super interesting to see. And then we can take a look at my favorites list. That mare's gone up quite a bit, so just as I suspected, if she went above what I would ideally want to pay, which is alright because I quite like the gelding. Alright, so we're 3 minutes now from the conclusion of the auction. Just to be sure, in case somebody decides to place a last minute bid. I'm gonna see. Alright, so we've got a minute left. I'm just gonna go ahead and set like a slightly higher proxy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember how proxies work now. So my maximum bid is now set to $135. I really don't think anyone's gonna come in and bid on him in the last 55 seconds, but we'll see. It's so stressful choosing a horse. You know, you want to be sure that you chose the right one. And I've looked at every horse in my age range. I've looked at shorter horses too, not just the 14-2 hand and up ones. And he really is the one that I like the most. So I think he's a really neat little horse, and I have high hopes for him. Already started thinking about names. And really excited to hopefully take him to the competition. So we've got 20 seconds left, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to win him. I like to go for sort of the diamond in the rough type horses that might not look super eye-catching at a glance, but if you take a closer look, they're still quite nice horses. So, alright, 5 seconds left. And I've won my horse, so super exciting. Really glad that I got my first pick. I really like him. Thank y'all for watching this first video in this little guy's series, and yeah, make sure to follow along for his journey. I think it's going to be a really cool one.